a second, maybe like 30 more seconds, and then we'll start. All right, I'm running the live with HSTA. Osa, go ahead.
Aloha kakahiaka. It's my great pleasure to come to you this morning to announce the Hawaii State Teachers Association's recommendation of Lieutenant Governor Josh Green to be the next governor of the great state of Hawaii. As teachers in the Aloha State, we see every day that Hawaii is a melting pot of different people from different backgrounds with different ideas, all blending together in the spirit of aloha. It is that diversity of voices coming together to do good which makes Hawaii such a special place. Josh arrived in Hawaii in 2000 as someone who wanted to help the neediest. At that point, he had already been using his skills throughout the world to help people who are afflicted with AIDS and malaria. He himself had been helped when very young and was diagnosed as being deaf, but through the miracle of modern medicine, they were able to restore his hearing. And now, all he does is listen to the concerns and the issues of the people of the state of Hawaii and helps them in whatever way he can. It wasn't long after he got here that he felt he could do more. And so he ran for the state house and then the state senate and became a legislator. His work included protecting keiki with autism, raising the legal age for tobacco and electronic cigarettes to match the legal age for alcohol, and ensuring that a parent's disability wasn't a reason to have their children taken away from them. When Hawaii's public school educators needed something, Josh Green was always a champion for our issues. This included our efforts to find ways to fully fund public education and give our keiki the schools that they deserve. When thousands of our teachers descended upon the state capitol in 2017, Josh Green was right there with us, helping to make sure that our voices were heard. Now, as Lieutenant Governor, he continues to hear the voices of our people and takes action. During the pandemic, he became a reliable and reasonable voice who wouldn't be constrained when providing our citizens critically necessary information. Just before COVID arrived on our shores, Josh took action in December of 2019 by spearheading a team of doctors who went to the country of Samoa. They administered thousands of vaccinations against measles during an outbreak which saw dozens of children perish and misinformation spreading. He used the lessons that were learned there to help shape the successful COVID vaccinations here in our state. Josh Green has shown that he knows the concerns of Hawaii's citizens. He's demonstrated that he cares about the future of our keiki and the well-being of the neediest in our communities, especially in our rural areas. He has established that he will go all in to improve things that need to be improved. Josh Green will stir the pot, think outside the box, and do whatever it takes to get the best results for Hawaii's people. We need a governor who is willing to take action on the critical issues that are facing us. From the melting pot that is Hawaii, we are fortunate to have the right person at the right time, stepping up to lead with care and compassion, and the Hawaii State Teachers Association wholeheartedly recommends Lieutenant Governor Josh Green to be the next governor of the state of Hawaii.
Aloha. First, let me just say I'm deeply honored, and I mean it, deeply honored to have the support of HSTA. The Hawaii Teachers Association is central to everything valuable in our state. They care for our keiki. I'd like to also, before I dive in and thank Osa and the team, I want to recognize my wife, Jamie, who's here with me today. And then my brother-in-law, Jared, who is a school teacher here at Honolulu Middle, teaches special ed, so we celebrate him. for 15 years. He looks young, but not so young. And Moana, who for 17 and a half to 18 years was at Kauai Hono in Waianae as a leader there, as the vice principal. So our first cousin, Moana. So it's in our family. Somewhere out there at home, we have our retired teacher relatives, our aunties and uncles that were at Kona Waina. Anna, cousins of Jamie and Vicky, also teachers in our state, so it runs deeply in our family blood. Even my father was a public school teacher back in the day, taught mathematics before I was born. So again, I'm deeply honored. I'm so thankful to you, OSA. I'm thankful to your members for having placed your trust in me. And as one of the premier public unions here in our state, you have a tremendous voice to make Hawaii better. I was honored to have your endorsement 4 years ago. I always will fight for you, and I think that you made a big difference in how I've been able to govern as Lieutenant Governor. You're a critical stakeholder here in our state, as I mentioned, for our keiki, because that will build our future through the investment in education. And we don't often invest adequately in public school education. I think that's very clear to us. We constantly have challenges to bring and keep teachers here, and that will definitely be a priority for Jamie and myself and for our entire government. There are at least 3 priorities I wanted to mention before we go forward, but I also wanted to say that my life was shaped by public education. As it was mentioned by OSA, I did not have my hearing until I was at age 2, and that meant that when my parents put me into public education for long hours, I really depended on those teachers to help bring me up, to help me make my milestones, to help me develop. And that's what we expect out of our public school education, and that's why these are such extraordinary people. I'm always reminded by the commitment that my public school teachers made in my life. I thought today about my 5th grade school teacher, Miss Diane McCabe, who was extraordinary, and she let me advance my reading and mathematics skills and showed me at age 10 that I could achieve. And then today I spoke with my 11th grade school teacher, Gene Klein, who is right now wrestling with a brain tumor. And he was one of our teachers that was second to none. He showed me that with drive you could accomplish anything. And so I was just honored to speak to him today in advance of being with these good school teachers, because it's so much in my blood and in my heart what they made possible for me and my family. They made it possible for me to be a good student in science, to be a potential doctor, which brought me to Hawaii with the National Health Corps. And that experience led me to government and my ability to serve. So those moments in life, the Miss McCabe's of my life, the Gene Kleins, the Ed Schroths, those leaders that were all public school teachers, they shaped who I was able to become. And so I'm honored to be standing with people that have shaped other people's lives all these years. So to our education priorities. First, attracting and retaining teachers in our public schools is my top priority. This means that we have to offer competitive salaries. We have to offer benefits that are in line with what will bring teachers across the ocean and sometimes just keep them here. We need to be able to make this one of our great disciplines so that teachers can afford to actually live in the state. We have high cost of living. That will be something that we address. We should get rid of the tax on medicine and food. That way we can again put some money back into teachers' pockets, but really we should focus on salaries, and we should reward teachers for their many years of service. That has to be appropriate, and that will help us keep our teachers in the classrooms. Second, like so many other professions, teachers fall into an income bracket where you just can't afford housing. And housing is going to be central in every way to what our team does and focuses on as we go forward with the governorship, if the people will have me. Having affordable housing in place means that teachers can stay and live in their communities. They can continue to be leaders with the children that they love most. So teachers have to be able to afford housing, and so teacher workforce housing will be central to our initiatives. And finally, I call upon the Department of Education to continue its efforts to fast track and modernize and repair all of our schools. I have children in the public school system. They benefit when they have a good setting to learn, when the classrooms are a place where they feel safe, where they can actually focus on their studies. We have to support our classrooms and our infrastructure. If we don't do that, it will be very difficult for us to continue to have a wonderful public school system, forgive me. So again, you've placed your trust in me, and I think that's an important thing to reflect on. We've gone through a lot together these last 2 years. We as teachers, public school educators, nurses and firefighters and people on the front lines like the guys that work on the docks. 2 years. 2 years we've wrestled with COVID, and today's a big day. It's a big day not because we have our time together, although that is extraordinary and I feel so honored, but because we come down off of the crisis. We begin to move to the next phase where we can move away from safe travels and we can move away from some of the mandates. We'll still be careful. We'll still trust teachers' judgment. We'll trust dock workers' judgment. We'll trust first responders' judgment, how we deal with the COVID crisis. But we're in a better place today, and we'll rebuild the state together. So one more time, OSA and team, thank you for placing your faith in me and Jamie. Thank you for letting us stand up for teachers and make this state really the most extraordinary place in the world to live. I love you guys very much.
Mahalo, Lieutenant Governor. Up next, we have our Kohala Chapter President, Wendy Nickel. Wendy?
Thank you, Wendy. Good morning, everyone. My name is Wendy Nickel, and I am the Curriculum Coordinator and Registrar at Kohala Middle School. I am also HSTA's Kohala Chapter President. It gives me great pleasure to represent teachers from Hawaii Island to tell you just a few of the reasons why we know that Lieutenant Governor Josh Green is the best choice for governor. Those of us from the Big Island know Josh from his years of service in the legislature, first in the State House of Representatives and then in the State Senate, representing Kona and Ka'u. He chaired both the Senate Health Committee and Senate Human Services Committee. However, his service to our island began long before that. After completing his medical training, Josh started his life's work as a family physician and ER doctor in the rural hospitals and clinics on the Big Island. Even as Lieutenant Governor, he works weekends in the emergency department at Kohala Hospital in Kapa'au. Josh is a regular sight in Kohala as he takes frequent walks through the neighborhoods around the hospital. I see him frequently stopping to talk story with many residents on his walk as I, drive to the post office and stuff. Josh keeps in touch with people. He is so respectful. He pays attention to what our local residents need to take care of their ohana and make a decent living. More than 20 years ago, Josh served in the National Health Service Corps in Ka'u, and he later worked medical missions in Africa, addressed the malaria crisis and AIDS epidemic, and then founded the West Hawaii Community Health Center and the Chinatown Homeless Clinic on Oahu. He's a true humanitarian. Josh also supports our keiki through his advocacy for public schools. He cares about making things better for Hawaii's children. His medical career, his legislative record, and his achievements as our Lieutenant Governor show the commitment he has to making life in Hawaii the best it can be for our local ohana. The hopes, challenges, and values of the families Josh cares for every day inspire him to do more to make life better for the people of Hawaii as our next governor. Mahalo.
Well done. Good work.
And with that, we once again ask all of you in Hawaii, when your ballots come, please vote Lieutenant Governor Green to be the next governor of the state of Hawaii. And with that, we'll take any questions you might have.
Coming in awfully slowly.
We're waiting for a question to come in by text. Okay. Well, with that, Thank you, everyone. Have a great long weekend,
Thank you,
and mahalo.
Good.